Hello there, and then welcome to Hub Beyond Numbers. This is a brand new video where we are looking at addition and subtraction of decimal fractions. At the end of it, you should be able to add and subtract decimal fractions accurately, and then align decimal points when adding or subtracting fractions. And then we'll also be looking at some word problems as well to be able to apply them practically. So without much ado, let's quickly look into it. Now, to add and then subtract decimal fractions, these are the steps we need to take note of. So first of all, you always need to line up the decimal points. You see, always do line up the decimal points. And secondly, you add zeros where needed. Okay. After all this, then perform the operation just like with whole numbers. You see. So let's look at what this means. Our first example here says we have to add 3.25 and 1.7. We have to add 3.25 and then 1.7. The first step is let's line up the decimal points. So let's look at our solution. In lining up our decimal points, what to mean is you write 3.25. Then for the next number, make sure the decimal point of the next one is just beneath this, lined up. You see, so it is actually 1.7. So you put our 1 and then 7 over here. You get it? Then we bring our sign here. And it says we should add. So you put your addition over here. We want to use the column method over here. Now the second step was saying you should add zeros where needed. So after writing all this, we realize that there are 3 digits here. Over here there are just 2. So you can choose to put this 0 here and it doesn't change anything. The zeros at the end of decimals do not really change anything. Hence, we add according to the columns. So if there's 5 here, you add to this column, you add also to this column, and then you add. So you are adding column wise, just like we do with whole number additions. So you have 5 plus 0, and 5 plus 0 gives us what? A 5. You see? Then we come to a 2 plus 7. 2 plus 7 gives us 9. So you put the 9 just beneath it. And then you put your decimal point here. So it is still aligned. You get it? Then you have your 3 plus 1. 3 plus 1 gives us a 4. So you write our 4 over here. That is all we need to know under what? These operations on decimals. And if you're able to understand this, you already know how to work with that on whole numbers, then you are good to go. So with that, let's look at this second question here. For this one, we have to subtract 4.2 minus 3.08. You see, so we do our arrangement just as we did over here. So you have your 4.2, and then you make sure the decimal point of the next one is aligned to this here. You put our 3 here, and then 0, 8. You see, after which you can choose to put a 0 over here, so that what does it do? It makes sure you have the same number of digits. I hope you get that. Then we put our minus sign over here. Now we want to perform our subtraction. So on the first column, that is from our right hand side, we have 0, this 0 over here, minus 8. You know that is not going to work. So just as we do for the normal, we are going to borrow a tenth. You see, so if you borrow a tenth, this now becomes just a 1, whilst this now becomes 10 or 10. So 10 minus 8 now gives us what? A 2. So I'm going to put my 2 here. Then at this stage now, we just have a 1 over here. So 1 minus 0 gives us a 1. Then we have 4 minus 3, which also gives us a 1. Not forgetting our decimal point. You see, not forgetting our decimal point. So always remember, do not forget your decimal point, because if you are to move it away, it is going to change the value of whatever you are doing. Take note. So this is also how we perform that of subtraction. And they are very, very easy. First of all, as we said, arrange your numbers according to their decimal points, align them. And then you do addition and then subtraction based on what we do for what whole numbers. So let's work these two and then we look at one word problem, after which I give some exercises for you to try. So we have 5.6 and then we are adding it to what? 2.34. So 2.34. So as I said earlier on, we just want to make sure we have the same number of digits. Hence, we are allowed to bring a 0 here, you see. Then we continue with our work. So we have a 0 plus 4, which gives us what? A 4. Then we have 6 plus 3, which gives us a 9. We put our decimal points aligned with what all we have over here. And then 5 plus 2, which then give us a 7. You see? So this becomes our final answer, 7.94. Let's try this last one also over here to see. So we have 9.85, then minus a 4.2. So once again, we can put our 0 here and then we work it out. So 5 minus 0 gives us what? Obviously, a 5. Then 8 minus 2. 8 minus 2 gives us what? A 6. So we put our 6 there. And then we have what? A 9 minus 4. 9 minus 4 also gives us a 5. Not forgetting our decimal point. So basically, this is how we add and subtract decimals. So looking at our word problem here, it says a rope is 8.5 meters long. Now, if 3.75 meters is cut off, how much rope is left? Our solution, the measure of the rope was what? 8.5 meters. And then we take note of the length that was cut off. And that it was recorded as what? 3.75. And if you are saying you are cutting off something, then it simply means you are subtracting. You see, so that should tell us if we are to add or subtract. And in this case, it is what? Subtraction. So we have 8.5 meters minus your 3.75 meters, you see. And we'll have to just arrange that so that the decimal points align, you see. So I have my 3.75. This is all we want to do, you see. So we can just put the 0 as a placeholder. You get it? Now we have a 0 minus 5, and 0 minus 5 isn't going to work. So we are going to borrow 1 from here down to this. So that this is no more a 0, but then what? A 10 in disguised. And take note, this 5 will no more become our 5, but then what? A 4. So we have 10 minus 5, and that certainly gives us a 5. And then we have 4 minus 7. And you know 4 minus 7 is also not going to work. Hence, you are going to borrow 1 from here down to this. So that it is no more a 4, but then what? A 14. Whilst this becomes what? A 7. So 14 minus 7, that gives us what? A 7. So we put that 7 down beneath it. Then we have 7 minus 3, which is what? 4. Easy. The question said how much rope is left. So we can then say that therefore 4.75 meters of rope is what? Left. That is how far this video is going to be. Now, if you have a word problem, all I'm trying to say is write out your parameters before you solve, and then you conclude. With that said, so we have the following here you can use as your try work. The first one, you just have to add. The second one is just subtraction. And then the third one is a word problem. That's it. So Obodai had 15 cedis. He bought a pen for 3 cedi, 50 pesos. Sorry, 3 cedi, 25 pesos. And then a pencil for, that is 1.75 cedis. The same thing. How much money does he have left? So you just apply all that we have done. I do hope this video was helpful. If there's any issue of concern you want to let me address for you, you can always let me know by contacting me or at the comment section, and then I'll address that for you in due time. Stay blessed and happy learning. Bye.